let's bring Bonnie Yates in so that we can talk with her because she is super fantabulous, awesome. And I'm told that she is there.
She is there.
She is there. Hey, Bonnie, how are you? Is your camera on? There
we go.
There you are. Well, there you are. Looking good as usual. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm getting a little, let's see.
Are you like needing to get out and about?
No, because I do that. I'm just like thinking about, like yesterday for the first time somebody said 2022.
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you, that I heard that on Friday and that took the wind right out of my sails. Because as you know, I have a young son who's going to be a senior in the fall.
I do know.
And when somebody said 2022, and I was like, no, because he's in college by then. And it just, I don't know, it just took it all out of me for a good day.
Yeah. So I'm 24 hours behind where you are.
And I gotta say, it's a slow road back. It like really gives you pause.
Well, the thing that I'm kind of focusing on is like my husband at Cal Poly is, I don't think people realize how much the students have been affected by this and what it means about their future. I have a younger child that wants to like have a social life and date. I mean,
yes,
I can do this. That's my main issue is like, when do I get to see certain family members? But for younger people, like being, my parents' age and remembering the Depression or something. So anyway, I'm glad you're doing the show.
We're glad you're here too. And I sent you some questions, but it was really late.
No, I'm good. We can do it.
Oh, you've got them?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course I can always, okay. So let's start with talking about the Tollner Law Offices and the disclaimer.
All right. Well, the disclaimer is you can't use this program as a substitute for real legal advice because it's not specific to your child's issue. So if you have a legal problem and you write to us, we'll try to deal with it on the air in a general way, because a lot of times people are going through similar stuff and we take comfort in, our strength as a body of people that are working with, these issues. But I generally refer people to COPA, COPAA.net, if you need to talk to an attorney in your own state. Obviously, if you have a California problem, we're happy to talk to you about it. And actually, in the last couple of weeks, I've had a couple people reach out from the show, and it's great to talk to you, California people, and we've had good discussions. So I can be reached either via the website, Tollner Law Offices. You can just Google up the website. There's an intake form. You can fill it out, and it'll get you an intake in pretty short order within 48 hours. Or you can just call me, and I usually just give you the 310-245-1968 number. That's direct to me. So you don't have an excuse for not getting an answer to your specific question if you're in the state of California.
There you go.
In the larger scheme of things, you have some questions and we're going to answer them. But there's been all kinds of stuff coming down the pike about how Senate Bill 117 is working and how people's particular IEPs are being implemented, things like that. So just really quickly, I'm going to try to read if there's time. Let's see, can I do this? Can you still see me if I pull up a document?
I've got a document up, so let's see. You can share. You can actually share something.
I'm just going to read it, is what I want to do. I had talked with Dr. Simon about this question of, well, it would help if I could spell and talk at the same time. This question of what to do with this time at home, how to use it productively, and how to get some meaningful information out of the process. And she sent me the following little email, which I believe I sent to you, Shannon. If I didn't, you'll let me know. She said, have parents keep track of how long their child can work independently on a task that is assigned, e.g., how much support they really need. That's one. 2, Kids who are performing better in this setting versus class can reflect issues of distractibility and setting, which can argue for a smaller, more organized classroom if needed. Download or order leveled books and see what child can read truly independently for leisure. Pick a variety of things of their interest and see what books they will actually read by themselves. This gives you an estimate of actual independent reading level. 4, can the child do any of the quote assigned unquote work on his own? This is the distance learning. How much support is needed by parent? How much is behavior interfering with independent work? How many prompts does parent have to sit with child to get child to do any work? So those are some things that are interesting because you're in the unique position now where the tables are turned and you actually have more information about your students' day-to-day functioning for the last 40 days or so than they do. So that's one thing that's coming up. Another thing that's coming up is people are asking questions about blocking or postponing graduation. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit at the end when we get through the questions if we have time.
Okay,
So
we're already running low on time, and I just want to quickly say that we've got a couple of questions that came in that aren't necessarily related to special education, but there's one question that I want to make sure that I tell this sister who is writing in. Is it a sister? Yes. She has a 65-year-old sister who is on the autism spectrum that moved in a year ago, and she's saying, is this show just for younger kids? It is not. Stick with me. I'm going to cycle back to your question a little bit later on. Okay, so
and TLO is representing people of all ages in the regional center system. So, I mean, the main problem you have with regional center cases is that there's no attorney fee reimbursement, whereas under the IDEA cases there is. So, if we're running low on time, you can ask me whichever the questions you want, and you know, if people have stuff we're not getting to it, I can make myself available later in the week.
okay, I'm going to start hitting the questions. So my son turns 21 in June, and we were scheduled to exit his school program, but he is being cheated of his last few months. Will he get an extension? Do you know?
Okay, so your son shouldn't be being exited from his school program at 21 unless he's graduating with a regular diploma. If he's graduating with a certificate of completion, he's supposed to be able to attend school under the IDEA until his 22nd birthday. So I need a little clarification in terms of what track he's on. What you're asking me, I think, and what people have been asking is what kind of a do-over do we get for this time period? And the answer is nobody knows yet. So you might as well just err on the side of being a little bit proactive about it. And so, you know, you don't have to wait to discuss these issues with the district. It might be a very good idea to request a telephonic or Zoom IEP and discuss what's working well and what's working badly and where the student's goals said he would be by this time this year versus where he is. As far as graduation, I just want to say, in case people have that issue coming up, I want to just tell them specifically, graduation can be delayed, but what you have to make sure you do is file for due process and trigger stay put long before graduation rolls around. I wouldn't wait till the last week before because they may take the position that you've substantially completed all your classes and we're going to graduate you. So I'm doing a graduation case. I'm filing, I just got it yesterday. I'm filing it now. The effect of that will be that the stay put will be in effect for many months because we know we're going to be able to continue these hearing cases, and that gives us time to work out a deal on graduation. So for your question, it's similar, right? You need to figure out a way to get some more time. And I would suggest you start with an IEP meeting, and if that doesn't resolve the problem promptly, then I think you're going to have to file for due process, and you're going to have to address the question of what comp ed you're going to get. And there's no commitment, but there never really has been on comp ed. It's going to be on a case by case basis, and it's going to depend upon you showing what the missed educational opportunities were during this, you know, time from March 11th forward. So that's why the documenting is important, and that's why the process is important. Even if some of the rules are relaxed, it's still very important that people schedule their end of year IEP meetings and not wait until too late. So I think that's
Okay,
what would generally
great.
your
I'm going to
situation.
move on. I'm going to move on to the next question. If I stop doing the distance learning garbage my son's school is dishing, I
Mhm,
just love how this mom
mhm.
words this, and start the K-12 homeschool program, which has a special ed teacher, can I get the school to reimburse me, and how do I do that?
Well, the answer is uh, probably, but I can't guarantee that. But I'm guessing that the homeschool program isn't that expensive. If you're going to do that, treat it like a usual private placement and give them 10 business days, not days, 10 calendar, not calendar days, 10 business days, written notice that you're going to place them in this other program because the distance learning doesn't offer FAPE, and you're doing this because you don't want them to lose uh, academic ground, and you are going to expect the district to reimburse you for this. But it's not that big of an ask, so I would think that that's a viable strategy. You might have to go through the process to get it, but I think they'd settle with you at either a resolution session after you file the complaint or a mediation. That'd be my guess. Now,
Okay.
I don't think that are we ending? Because I can stop.
No. I'm going to hit you with another question.
Well, before you do, I want to
Okay.
say to people, this is not a one size fits all situation. The squeaky wheels are still going to get the grease. There's still some grease to be had, so you want to be the squeaky wheel. Ask me another.
I, okay. Parent says, wits end here, have an IEP scheduled for Friday. My son is about to be 5, ASD, ADHD, has some language, gets a 40-hour program from CARD, which we have continued through some in-home and lots of telehealth. I don't know what will happen in the fall with school, but I want to CARD one-to-one in TK if we are going back to school. What do I need to know to get that? And the IEP is for this Friday, but they don't say which school district.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you had a little more time and a little more data, because I think that data could be analyzed. And if you've been doing academic work with the child and the child needs a one-to-one behavior facilitation in order to attend or to have the work broken down in smaller units and learn, those would be the arguments you would make for why. I mean, first you have to make the least restrictive environment argument, and that your child, absent any other factors, which I haven't heard, is entitled to go to a general ed TK, and that in order to be successful in that environment, he's going to need full-time NPA ABA services. And you go through your data that you've collected from your home program work with your behaviorist, and you articulate the areas of need and why they require that level of support. And then that's the case you make at the IEP meeting. I will tell you guys that I have gotten, in many instances, settlements which allowed for NPA behaviorists to come into the classroom. I have almost never gotten them at an IEP meeting, probably 10 times in the last 25 years, but I have almost always gotten them through the mediation process. Last year, I did have an IEP where I got ABA services for the kindergarten year, but that's because the child had been in a private preschool with full-time ABA, and the preschool teacher spent a lot of time talking to the IEP team about how he could do this, but he needed the support, and it wasn't right to put him in a special day class. So you got to think about what you're doing immediately, and you also have to think about the fact that in terms of the longer game, you need to make a good showing at the IEP meeting, and then if that isn't successful, you can go to due process and you'll probably be able to settle the thing at a mediation.
Okay. I love that answer. And then one more question. My 5th grader had a one-to-one aide. Now with COVID madness, he is expected to learn from a lecture on a computer with no aid and no support. And she wrote WTF. Do I just stop? Do I call an IEP, or do I just let him fail, with many question marks?
I think she calls an IEP and she talks to them about what she needs, and she sees how far she can get, and then we reevaluate.
Okay. I think a lot of people, Bonnie, are feeling like, because it's like all the rules got changed. They don't feel empowered to do some of the things that they knew that they could do before, like saying, I need an IEP meeting because this isn't working.
Okay, well, so what I have to say about that is this is a Wild West situation, and you need to appeal to your inner artist and creative person. So, for example, I had a middle school principal in LAUSD who was jerking my client around and refusing to commit to an IEP date. So we filed a simple due process, and lo and behold, the principal surfaced and said, okay, we're going to do your IEP meeting. I mean, we could have a brief show discussing how people file for due process by themselves in California using prepared forms, because I think in some cases you may need to sort of get out of the IEP level of action and catapult your case into a status where people that are higher up in the special education division of your school district are going to be looking at the request. And it is not rocket science, and it's all doable online. So maybe that's something we should talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've answered all the questions rapid fire. I'm so proud of us, proud of you, really. But so now we got 2 minutes, Bonnie. You had a bunch of things that you wanted to talk about. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about in 2 minutes?
Sure. Why not? Well, let's start talking about due process. Let's 2 minutes about due process so we can see if people want more. Remember that the system was set up originally so that parents were supposed to be able to do all this themselves. And you can do this. You can go to the Office of Administrative Hearings website for the state of California. I don't know about other states. We've got an e-filing system where you can do all of this online. And there are forms at the Office of Administrative Hearings special education website for how to file for due process. And for those of you that have ever filed a regional center appeal, it can look that simple. It can be a 2-page submission that says, what is the nature of your problem and what is the resolution that you need to resolve this? And the trickiest part of completing that form is that OAH requires a proof of service showing that you served it on your school district. So you have to make sure that you file your complaint with a proof of service and you serve it upon your school district. So you'll be serving it on the school district and on the Office of Administrative Hearings. And that will be enough to get you a case number and a resolution session and probably a mediation. And you don't have to worry if your complaint isn't perfect. The whole point about this is to rest your case away from the sort of stalled IEP level of things and put you into a different echelon. So we could finish that next time we're on the air.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Because I think people are right now are wanting to be empowered with things that they can do, and that's one of the things that you can do. And I know personally that I never actually had to get to the point where we filed for due process. I was 3 times in consideration for it. People who watch the show know my story that I got filed against twice due process from the school district. But I can tell you that's, yes, very special. But I can tell you that good things happen in mediation. Mediation is a place where you get stuff done. And it's an opportunity where you're sitting there and you're able to talk, and there's a reasonable person there who's talking.
Can you confirm that it was a whole different group of people than the IEP level people that were sort of?
Totally different people. Yeah. The
Yeah.
people who actually, it's that Maya Angelou thing about never take a no from somebody who wasn't authorized to give you a yes. And when you get in the mediation room, you're in the room with the people who can give you the yes. And they're there with a reasonable person who does not have a dog in the fight, who just is like the reasonable person there. And I found that if I was reasonable, that person would say to the people on the other side of the table, listen to her, she's being reasonable. And that ended up helping me great big balls of fire. Yes, I'm a big fan of mediation. It's where good things happen.
Okay, well, and that's good. That's good for them to hear from you because you're a lay person having done this.
That's right. That's
So
right. Anyway, Bonnie, tell us again where we can find you and Tollner Law offices.
you can probably find me in my kitchen, which is not a good thing.
I love it.
And sometimes when I'm down there, I'm actually cleaning, not just yeah, so Tollner Law offices. We have offices in San Jose, El Segundo, and Irvine. You can find us on the website, TOLLNER Law Offices, or you can reach out to 310-245-1968. Good questions, guys. We're going to
Thank you so much.
problem solving. You know,
Thank you, Bonnie. We'll see you next week.
sounds good.
All right, take care.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.